Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. What do you think about this Take Our Border Back initiative? Do you think this is authentic, or do you think that maybe it is orchestrated? I've got several questions that I would like to ask you. So please jump on and accompany me on this journey as we talk about securing the border. And, I always like to dig deeper. It's just kind of like a burden that I have, which is I don't take things at face value. I have a feeling that you are the same way and you like to look at all sides of an issue. So let's do this. I'm going to share my screen. This is the website, Take Our Border Back Convoy, and, the American flags. And I am a person who believes in taking action. And I am not criticizing this outfit from the get-go. I did look at this quite in detail, and I was looking at who's funding it, who's supporting it. These are all kinds of things that I'm interested in looking at. And I do have a couple of questions. Actually, I have a whole list of questions that came to mind. And let me know if you have any questions about this action that actually is starting today. It is January 29, 2024. And ostensibly, this activity is going to be going on for the next several days, and it is going to culminate in people showing up on the border of Texas. So I also want to share that with you. I'm going to show you exactly where they are going, and then I'm going to dive into these questions, and I would like to hear yours as well. Stay with me until the end, because I do have some solutions and what I think we need to do in a way that actually makes sense. Not to mention, I also want to share with you a short video of somebody who is actually on the border. And there are some eye-opening things that he shows in terms of the gates that are left wide open. But before we dive into that, let's just focus a little bit on this convoy, because I've got some questions about it, and I'm sure that you do as well. So let me share my screen. And over at takeourborderback.com, they have the maps of where they are encouraging these truckers to go. And so the first one is from Virginia Beach to Eagle Pass. And then they also want people to go from Dripping Springs to Quemado, and that's also in Texas, and then basically from Arizona to Texas and California to Texas. So I looked at the two extreme distances, and the first one from Virginia Beach to Texas is about a 27-hour drive, and that's driving straight through. And I guess truckers, they do have to adhere to these regulations about how many hours they can drive at once. Maybe, I'm not sure if that also exists if they're not carrying any commercial load, but look at this from San Ysidro, California, Mexico, basically on the border, to Eagle Pass, Texas, and that's 18 hours. So here are a couple of questions that I have about that. So let me back up just a little bit, because I do want to say that I am all in favor of taking action. And I applaud people that want to stop complaining and to actually do something. My concern is whether or not this is an authentic event, whether this has come about in an honest way with dignity and integrity, or if it has any openings for any infiltrators or any type of false flag operations. What we saw in January 6th and how that has been twisted around. So is this going to be another January 6th, brouhaha? I mean, that's a mild word to use for people that are being, indicted and thrown into prison. So could this be on the up and up, or could it be orchestrated, or could it be open to some kind of infiltration? I am all in favor of people taking action. I believe that it energizes people. I am certainly someone that has taken a lot of action. I make these videos every day. I stay up to date on the news and information. I use my powers of, positive thinking and critical thinking to discern the truth from the deception. So I am on the front lines fighting in my own way. I'm not going to get in a car or a truck and join the convoy, because here are some of my questions. So who are the people that are going to be joining this? And how are they able to take time out of whatever it is that they normally do? And how are they going to be able to afford that 18 hour or 26-hour drive across the United States. And if they are going in their trucks, think about the fuel costs that they will encounter. Now, perhaps people are donating to the cause. And again, back in the trucker convoy that we had in the United States and in Canada, there was so much scandal surrounding that. I don't know that we'll ever get definitive answers to the questions about where this money went, the people that were harmed. In Canada, they had their bank accounts frozen. And I know that there are people that shy away from taking action because they don't want their name to show up on a list or to be targeted in some other way. I mean, think about the January 6th debacle where people were being arrested who weren't even there. So just asking how this is going to be paid for, how are people getting the time off? What about the goods and services that are going to be disrupted in this? Let's say that there's an independent trucker who is not going to take on a contract because he's going to be spending the 26 hours in one direction and then the 26 hours in another direction, driving back and forth. And so that is money that he's not going to be making or she's not going to be making. So these are questions that I have. The biggest question I have is, what is this going to accomplish? Now, you could say that it's going to grab the attention of many people. It certainly grabbed my attention. You could say that people are not going to put up with this any longer and they're going to speak out and speak up. And I'm all in favor of that. But my question is, what actually is it going to accomplish? Do you think that this could be a major distraction? Could it be a diversion from what else is going on behind the scenes? I have a couple of other scenarios in mind as well, but mainly I want to make sure that those who are participating, I don't have any way of making sure, but just my own desire is that those who are participating are doing it with integrity and honesty and truthfulness, and that they're not going to be set up to be the fall guy. Is it a trap? Are people being lured into that area? And then what? There are plenty of people, I'm going to share this with you in just a moment, this video, that are on the ground there in Texas saying things are not as bad as they appear on the media. The media is spinning this story and they're showing all of the razor wire and the containers and ways that the Texas government is attempting to prevent people from crossing the border. But just down the road, the doors are wide open. And in my follow-up video, stay with me, I've got 2 videos for you today. In my follow-up video, I'm going to share with you the millions and millions of dollars that are going to organizations, millions of your dollars and mine, and the money that they print out of thin air in the federal government are going to these nonprofit and other organizations that are actually processing these illegal immigrants, giving them money, giving them a place to stay, giving them medical care, giving them maybe jobs or employment. And I would like to know what you think about that. So my question is, are we really seeing an invasion on the border, or are we seeing an invitation? And my information and the evidence that I've been gathering points to the conclusion that this is an invitation, that these individuals, and I'm going to share with you some of your own comments that you've left on the video. These individuals don't look like they've been through a lot of hardship. They don't look ragged and, dirty and tired and hungry. They look like they just got off a plane or a bus with clean clothes and sort of matching backpacks that are filled with snacks. I mean, where do you get that if you are literally trying to escape for your life? I have lovely, healthy Americans on this channel that have risked their lives escaping communism. And they actually, went through the ringer. My own family, my grandfather came as a legal immigrant. Oh my gosh, it was, I don't know, a century ago, I guess. I'm not sure of the exact date. And there are so many of us that come from immigrant families. But this is a whole different ballgame, and I know it rubs many people the wrong way. So let me give you a couple of my own ideas on what's really going on. And then I'll share this video with you. And I've got a picture that I want to share with you as well that is making the rounds about what the free states of America could actually look like. So many of you have brought up the point that this is an election year. And yes, it is. And we know what happens in election years. Emotions run high. People are cheering for their leader, their team leader, cheering for their team, much like a sports event or, something like that. And I understand that people are looking for a leader. They're looking for someone that they can trust and rely on. As far as I'm concerned, if someone is a politician, they already have lost my esteem, several notches, because the politicians may start out as sincere with a degree of integrity and honesty, and they either are corrupted along the way, or the power got to their head, or as my husband says, their egos were bigger than their IQs. And so they really didn't know what they were doing, and they fell prey to being manipulated by the puppet masters. So here's what I think definitely is happening. This is a distraction. People are riveted on this. I am as well. I'm watching it. I personally don't believe that this is going to be a civil war. My hope and prayer is that no one will get hurt. And my hope and prayer is that it will draw more attention to what's going on at the border so that people can take peaceful means to, rattle the cages of the public servants and their elected representatives to actually do something about this. This has been a broken system for years. I opined in a previous video the idea of immigration at this point of the game anyway. If the United States government says, and it does, that we are running out of resources, even in the state of California, you have to turn off your electricity because we don't have enough power. I just got something on my phone the other day, an alert from the power company saying we have a planned blackout. Well, if there are not enough resources, I believe that there are, but if we're being told that there are not enough resources, not enough water, that the climate is being damaged, yet you're opening the doors for more people to come in. Hello, there's no room at the inn. So even legal immigration, in my humble opinion, should be put on pause until we can get our own house in order. So if this activity on the border draws more attention and people start to alert their representatives about this, possibly that could have some effect. I hope that it does. I think that this also is driving a great deal of fear. And this really rubs me the wrong way. I get emails every day from people saying, Peggy, men of fighting age are being bussed into the country. Now, when I hear many people use the same exact phrase, I know that they heard it somewhere else. Men of fighting age, men of fighting age. What does that mean? Men of fighting age. There are children that are coming in. There are women that are coming in. And yes, by and large, these are people that look quite robust and healthy. I've not seen a lot of elderly, sickly looking people. But the undercurrent is that somehow these immigrants are now going to be corralled into, the American army to fight against we the people. Is that the conclusion you're drawing when you say men of military age? I sincerely want to know. So I don't operate on fear. In fact, as I opined in a previous video about immigration, an invasion or an invitation, it's what I hope is that these individuals that are coming to this country, now I know this might be a pipe dream, I might be far too optimistic and positive for your liking, but it is possible that some of these individuals that come to this country will be exposed to the American way of life, will begin to see what it's like to actually live in freedom, and may actually want to stand on the side of freedom fighters against the corrupt government. How do you like them apples? I like them apples a lot better than the fear-mongering that somehow this is going to become a standing army. I don't know. That's a little far-fetched to me, but I could totally be off base. What I think is going to happen is that the occupant of the White House, hopefully soon to be removed from the White House, that he somehow is going to be the knight in shining armor, and he will come to the rescue and have all of the answers and secure the border, and that everyone will applaud this what imposter, I guess, is the word that comes to mind. And that will raise his posture in the eyes of Americans. That is one thing that could happen as well. Or on the flip side, it could be that Abbott becomes the knight in shining armor and everyone's hero for standing strong against the federal government, and perhaps, just perhaps, will be tapped to be the vice presidential candidate along with Trump. What say you? Right? They can pretend that the border was fixed, continue business as usual, and that brings me to my next point about the border. So let's hop right on over to this video where I'm going to let me share my screen. And I'm not going to play this out loud because he's got some expletives. But if you're interested, I can leave a link for you at my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. I cannot leave a lot of links for you in my description box here, because YouTube is also giving strikes against channels for outgoing links. Yes, I told you all about that in my video about the censorship. So here, this man is talking about how the media is getting everybody riled up, one against the other. And then I wanted to show you that he is going to be driving here along the border. Here it is at Eagle Pass right here. Here's where you see, I don't know if I can make this any larger, friends. I don't think I can, but here he's going to show you that down the road, and let me know if you are in Texas, if you've been to Texas, if you've driven here or not, but he's going to show you how, at Trump's wall, several of these gates are absolutely left open. And so here's the wall. He said it's 0.5 miles from the bridges, the park, and the media. And it's absolutely stunning. There's nobody here, but wait until you see that this gate is absolutely wide open with, I don't even see anybody walking through it, but I also don't see anybody manning the gate. So that's Mexico right on the other side. And there's one gate. Actually, he's coming up on another one, and he'll be bringing that in a moment. I believe that a lot of this is fear mongering to get people riled up, to pit us one against the other, to also have Americans be divided against legal immigrants. Now, here's another one, completely wide open. And you can see that right there. So that goes to show that there is a lot of hoopla happening right at the Eagle Pass. Now, let me share with you this Operation Lone Star Border Support Mission. This is from an official Texas website, texas.gov, Texas Military Department, and it is looking for volunteers to join the border mission. There is a rallying point. I think this is interesting. State active duty with the acronym SAD. I've spoken about that before, how the acronyms are so similar, like SADS, and of course, BLM for Bureau of Land Management, and then Black Lives Matter. Is it sad that they're going to be on state active duty? I don't know. But here is where you actually could volunteer. So I find that very interesting as well. And then I wanted to share with you this interesting tidbit about Greg Abbott, the governor. And here he is on the World Economic Forum website. He spoke at the WEF, the WEFers, the New World Disorder folks, a few years ago. And you may say, well, Peggy, he was just trying to get some economic activity for the state. Oh, that's possible, isn't it? And what have I got here? Oh, I'm going to be sharing that with you in my next video, how the money is being spent to welcome and to have an open door policy for these migrants coming in illegally, I will add. Somebody sent this to me. I really like it. It says the new Union of Free States. Now, what troubles me is it does include Canada, because I do believe in borders and defined borders. I believe in boundaries, even for my own life. And I certainly believe in boundaries for countries. So the idea is that here in Canada, this is the area that is more freedom-minded. And then we've got Alaska. And then, of course, the central part of the United States, including Texas and the South, is very much pro-freedom. And then you've got the North and the West, which is very much pro-oppression, tyranny, totalitarianism, and all of those other isms that have to, including fascism. People wanted me to remind you of anything that is in the opposition of freedom. Do you believe this is going to result in another civil war? Do you believe this is actually going to help what's going on at the border? Do you think that this is orchestrated and that the media is highlighting one special area of the border while leaving the rest of it completely, anonymous and untouched and unexposed? And do you think that this website and those that are organizing this from the Take Back Our Border, are they on the up and up? Do you think they are open to being infiltrated? These are questions I have for you. I don't have all the answers, but I did promise to bring you some solutions. And these are similar solutions that I have for basically any problem. And that is the lowest and smallest and most local solution, the better. I am not a person who is in favor of global movements. It rubs me the wrong way when people who are fighting against the WHO are offering you another option of a different World Council for Health. I don't need a World Council for Health. I don't need a federal council for health. I don't need a national council of health. I don't need a state council of health. I don't need a county council of health. I don't need a town or city council of health. I only need to be responsible for my health on my own. And when it comes to my freedom, my liberty, it is up to me as well. So I have a couple of things here. I will have all of this in a written form for you on my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. Thank you, everybody. I'll share that with you in just a moment, but just to thank everybody who is a subscriber on the Substack, especially if you are a paid subscriber. All of the content is free to everyone upon publication, but the paid subscribers can leave comments. They have access to all of the archives, and they are invited to join me on my, it's my private live webinar that I hold every month. We just had it at the end of the month. There are a lot of great connections going on there. So what can you do about all of this hogwash that is being sloshed all over us? Number one, you have got to get your own house in order. And I mean that literally. You have got to get your finances in order, get yourself out of debt. Can you make other money if that is something that you need to do in a way that doesn't involve maybe a W-2 or a paycheck or taxes being stolen out of your paycheck every month by the government, state government, local government, federal government? Can you start connecting with others in your community? Can you do trades? Can you be a pet sitter? Can you sew clothes for someone? Can you grow organic veggies and trade? What is it that you can do? Can you hone these skills? These are survival skills that are going to serve you in the future. Doing something productive, like working on learning how to fix things. I've got a lovely, healthy American, Frank, another shout out to Frank, who fixes cars. He's always telling me how the older cars now are being tougher and tougher to fix because they want to groom people into only buying the more expensive cars that can be tracked and turned off and the speeds regulated. So learn how to fix things, learn how to make things, learn how to build things, learn how to grow things. If you are a parent, you could become a teacher in a private or community homeschool setup. So think about what you can do in your own backyard. Literally get your own house in order. What about your health? What about your mental health? What about your physical health? Get yourself strong, healthy, so that you'll be able to withstand whatever may come your way. That's the first thing. Get your own house in order. Number two, connect with like-minded people. That's what we do here at The Healthy American. And in my private webinars, where you are invited as a financial supporter, because I could not do this work without you, if you find value in these videos that I create for you for free, if you appreciate the hours that I spend on the Substack, along with my assistant, Olivia, getting this information ready for you, where you can read it, you can forward it, you can digest it, you can keep it. If that's of value to you and you want to support what I'm doing, I want to support you by inviting you every month to these private webinars. We're together for about an hour and a half, often longer. We talk about things off the record, uncensored, and all of those webinars are recorded. So I've been doing this for over a year, and you can view all of those even if you can't make it live. So you have an opportunity in these private get-togethers to connect with like-minded people. People are sharing emails, people are connecting offline, especially in your local area. I think that's very, very important. And listen, my opinion is that the smaller the group, the better. I'm talking about 4, 6, maybe 8 people max that you can trust, that you can vet, that you can rely on. There's nothing wrong with being a part of a larger group of, 50, 100, but that opens itself up to more infiltration, to more of the bad guys, the evildoers, maybe people that just want to rock the boat. So the smaller, the better 4, 6, 8 people, that's plenty. You have somebody to rely on. Ideally, people in your group will have different skills. You can support each other, trust each other if things go south. So that will empower you, knowing that you don't have to go alone. The third thing, and I think this is one of the most important for me, is the best way you can be prepared for what's coming is to live each day fully, not in fear, but in faith. My husband, Pastor David, says what does he say? He says he steps forward in faith because he knows that God loves him, has a plan for him, and that he lives under God's protection, direction, and peace. And that is my daily prayer for me and you, that we will be open to his inspiration, knowledge, wisdom, guidance. And that is something that keeps me going and buoys me up, is my faith. In fact, my faith is getting stronger by the day because I certainly do not put my faith in any politician. And I do believe that God can show his love and strength and wisdom through other people, which is why I like to connect with others. We are meant to be in community and in fellowship, but not to have these leaders rule over us in an authoritarian manner. So increase your faith. And then finally, increase your joy and enjoyment of each day. I will never allow the tyrants to steal my soul by stealing away my own enjoyment of what I do on a daily basis. I love doing these videos. I love reading between the lies. I love honing my skills of critical thinking. I love exposing the evil and rattling the cages of these public serpents, letting them know that I am not going to be bamboozled, that they cannot pull the wool over my eyes, that I am on to their slimy, sleazy, scamming ways. And tomorrow, I'm going to be blowing the lid off this. I think it's believable because you know how scammy and sleazy these serpents are. I'm going to be showing you what's happening in the county of Orange, even in the county of Orange, and the Board of Supervisors are basically this close to wanting to get rid of Andrew Doe, who is one of the people that I am suing in my lawsuit. So wait until you find out how he's been lining his own pockets, the pockets of his family. I knew about this. It's one of the claims in my lawsuit, and it is all coming out in the open. So persevere, my friends. Persevere with positivity and determination. Those are 2 words that keep me afloat, and I hope it will be the same for you. I wanted to finish off by just reading a couple of your comments, which I really appreciate. Let me share my screen, and then stick with me for the second video. I'm going to be blowing the cover off this information that another Substacker has compiled about the money, your money and my money, that's been stolen out of our pockets, out of our paychecks, and printed out of thin air, and how this money is going to different agencies that are basically rolling out the red carpet for these illegals. That really boils my blood. But let's finish off with some of your comments. I love hearing from my healthy Americans. So yes, did Abbott forget to close a few gates? I shared that with you there. That's really strange to me that those are, people can waltz right in. And here Gina says there are open spaces in the gate with no barbed wire or guards, only 1 mile from the governor's barbed wire. What a farce. Mel Kilgore says, Abbott is a WEF pawn. He's making a big show at Eagle Pass, but half a mile down the road, apparently, he must have forgotten to close gates and forgot to put a few guards down there. This is all one big show. It's all to implement Agenda 21 and install, she calls it the one world government. I call it the new world disorder, because it is completely disorderly. They are using the Cloward Piven strategy. Let me know in a comment if you would like me to cover that on an upcoming video. It is very well known among all of the leftists, how they will manipulate people, isolate them, ridicule them, and so forth in order to get their way. She says, I bet money that the majority, if not all of our governors, are a part of this agenda. Oh, that's another video I want to do, all about the Governors Association. Yes, they all have the same script. They meet together, online, and they follow many of these same issues. And I agree with you on that, Mel. All right, Dina says, I've noticed on videos that show people coming across the border like they look very clean and are wearing nice clothes. Wouldn't you be dirty and look like heck if you walked a long way? I agree with you, Dina. That's very eye-opening to you. Here's one. Healthy American says, I'm in Jersey. My mom works for social services, and busloads were brought there to apply for food stamps and Medicaid. No one was given notice they were coming. The department was not prepared, and they also did not have enough Spanish speaking staff, as no one spoke English. My mom said she personally used to do about 50 new applicants a month, and now she alone is doing that daily. These dirty politicians are personally draining my economy. All right, friends, I am going to be following this story to see what the fallout is over these next few days. I personally hope that my skepticism is a little overblown. I would love nothing more for this to be, pie in the sky, everybody gets along, kumbaya, no infiltrators, no false flags, no psyops. Can I use that word on this channel? And I would love nothing more if this had the intended effect of closing the borders once and for all. What needs to be done, in my opinion, is a 100% pause on all immigration everywhere right now from this day until we can get things sorted out. There's no more room at the inn. Let's take care of the American citizens, of our own residents, of our own population first. Is that not right? Is that not fair? By the way, if you want to go to Mexico right now, you have to show that you have $4,000, an income of, I think it's $4,300 monthly. You have to show that for the last 6 months in terms of wanting to be like a, temporary resident. And I think you have to show somewhere $59,000 in the bank, something like that. That's a lot of money in order for you to be a temporary resident in Mexico. How do you like them apples? And then I want to do a video for you about all the people, all the Americans that are actually crossing the border, going the other way. They're leaving the United States and they're going to Mexico. I have a whole bunch that I want to talk to you about that. Let me know if you live in Mexico, if you know of anybody that moved to Mexico, even temporarily, maybe over the last several years of the hogwash, they were working remotely. So they got their American salary, but they were still able to work, as a digital nomad, as the saying goes, in Mexico. So why in the non-spinning world, I love to say that, why are people in the United States fleeing the United States, going to Mexico? I have an answer for you for that as well. That will be in an upcoming video, not today, but a little bit down the road. But join me. I've got a part 2 where we're going to look at how much money is being given to these illegals illegally